So secondly, this week we're looking at the Bruckner's setting of Locus Iste. As we've mentioned in rehearsals, this piece was written for the dedication of a church. And interestingly, it's almost exactly the same length as the Mozart piece, only 2 bars longer, 48 bars. So again, we're looking at a piece which is a very simple setting, written by a composer who had the ability to, in a way, do things, and was normally doing things on a much bigger scale. And it's interesting how he has the ability to pare back his musical language and writing to something so intimate for a church setting. Nevertheless, what's interesting to me about this piece is his ability to you get the idea of this, the way he uses the pauses in the music and the acoustic of the church. You get a sense that he's got a real sense of architecture, a piece written for an architectural space, which is kind of presented locus iste, this place. You're actually talking about a physical space. In this piece, of course, we're talking about the context of a church's dedication. But Bruckner, even in these 2 pages, you get a sense of the way he can build up from a simple first phrase, which he then repeats a tone higher in bar 5. And you get these sense of the building idea being built up by these rising lines. The bass is inestimabile, which is echoed by the sopranos and the tenors also. And these kind of build up to these big climaxes at Sacramentum at bar 20. Then suddenly he cuts everything away, and you're left with this big chords that you have to imagine in the echo of the church at bar 20. And then you're introduced to this new idea, the irreprehensibilis est, that the tenors start, which couldn't be more intimate. It's pianissimo, just the tenors singing, and really total contrast from the epic statements that's just come before. And then we get a recapitulation, a reintroduction of the opening music at bar 30, and it goes with a slight variation simply to the end. So really, this is a simple piece, but one by a great master who really understands the structure and how to pace a piece of music over a period of time. Of course, in this piece, that period of time is only a couple of minutes, but Bruckner was well known for massively long-scale symphonies, together with Mahler, perhaps the height of the German or Austro-German romantic symphonic composers. And I've also further down given you a link for those of you who have got lots of time on your hands, an hour and 10 minutes or so, to listen to the Seventh Symphony, which is one of the greatest symphonies in the whole repertoire. Really, it's a big piece, and it's a whole different proposition to listen to a piece of music and make that kind of commitment of time. But it's worth it if you've got the time and inclination, because it's a magnificent piece of music. I hope you enjoy the contrast of these two. I've also, before that, given you a link to another piece which is interesting in that it's also the Te Deum, which is also a church text, of course. But here we have Bruckner in all his splendour and the big scale of a piece not really perhaps better suited to the concert hall. And I've got another archive recording, this time of Karajan. It's a fantastic recording. Of course, there are the usual things about watching older recordings in terms of the sound quality, but I love watching these things from the sort of 80s, I think it's the early 80s, all the soloists and choir singing from memory, everything very manicured. Karajan, of course, was one of the celebrity conductors, and everything is kind of very much geared to the great maestro and the sort of reverence of when he comes on. Everything's very kind of there's the sort of beginning of the modern era of marketing with conductors going on. and you'll notice how everybody's singing from memory. The choir from memory, the soloists singing from memory. A stellar lineup of soloists, including Jose Van Dam and David Rendell. Have a listen at least to the first section of this. There's this I did this piece actually a couple of years ago with the BBC Symphony in Haitink and the Barbican, and really enjoyed it. It's in the same key as Loco Sister, and you get this these kind of bare fifths which open it, no major or minor chord, it's just an open fifth. And in the same key, in C major, this Te Deum, but it's in an epic scale. So just think from one extreme to the other. Still ecclesiastical texts, but how he treats it is one side of Bruckner to the other side of Bruckner. Hope you enjoy these two.